I want to get your thoughts
Oh, God.
on the future of Erik Ten Hag and Manchester United.
Oh, God. Look, my emotions are pretty much in it. And watching the game, like we did a watch along for Stretford Paddock the other day. And like, you know when your mum goes, I'm not angry, just disappointed.
Yeah, I get
You know,
that a lot
like
when I
when
was a
you're
kid, yeah.
beyond anger,
Yeah.
where it's no longer anger, it's just,
It's existential.
I just expected this. Just end the season now. It's like, just end it. But like, what's going on is, like, we're getting beat off Bournemouth.
1 point out of 6 against Bournemouth this
Against
season.
Bournemouth. And like, on the flip side, you go, Liverpool never beat us this season. On the opposite side, you go, we can't beat Bournemouth.
Yeah. Crazy.
We've lost, I think, like 40% of our league games. We've lost 12 league games this season. I can't remember a year like it. All the records that you don't want to break are being broken. We could have our worst Premier League position by the end of the season, which would be 8th. And that's a big possibility at the moment. Whilst we've been spending time naively looking up at Villa and Spurs and going, oh, would like to catch them. By the way, I said it was over after Fulham when we lost against Fulham at Old Trafford.
Iwobi was running the show.
Yeah, I said it was over then. But yeah, like we've been caught by Newcastle now, and like the possibility is we're not going to be moving upward.
No, I don't think you will be.
We'll be staying where we are or moving down.
Is the obvious question to start off with, does Erik Ten Hag have any future?
You're not a neutral, so that's not the right word.
No.
But as someone that's not bothered by how Manchester United do, you don't want them to do well, but what do you think is going to happen? Yes, people, what's going on? Apologies for interrupting your video. I'm here to tell you about Super 6. Super 6 are sponsoring the club, and you can help the club out by downloading the Super 6 app, but also Super 6 might help you out because it's free to play. You have to be 18 or over, but if you're getting stuck in, all you got to do, predict 6 scorelines, and then you could win £250,000. It's that easy to play Super 6, and you can even join our league as well. The code's Club23, and the winner of our league will be playing for the Club FC at the end of the season in our huge match against Pitchside. Get stuck in. Right, enjoy the rest of your video.
I think he's done. I think the loss, if you lost the game, obviously a draw, you know, whatever, you could sort of come back in the game a little bit, and a draw's neutral, isn't it? If you lost the game, I think it's over. I think that's enough ammunition for the owners to really get rid of.
Sack him now.
But now there's a draw, I think there's still enough lifeline.
My point is, if he loses the game, do you think they genuinely?
Yeah, I think it's that bad. I think it's that bad. And the point just about keeps you, afloat. It's a point, and it should. I think he should be sacked anyway. I think it's so bad. And obviously, I'm not a neutral, but I do respect the institution of Man United. I do respect the amount of money you've invested in the squad. A lot of poor signings. They're not all his fault, of course, but he spent a lot of money individually, hasn't he? It's nowhere near the standards of where Man United should be.
I agree with a little bit in terms of when you look at Manchester United's transfer policy, it's been abysmal, hasn't it? And you'd like to think anybody would benefit from a better transfer policy. And like Casemiro, who was a great short-term fix, he now needs replaced. You spent 60 million on him. Like, that's an example of poor. But then you go on the other hand, he wanted Anthony. But he only wanted Anthony because of desperation, because of the failures of the structure. Like, do you know what I mean? It's almost like it's a symptom of the overall problems at the club. Weirdly, did you see this? Don't know how true it is, but apparently Anthony wasn't involved at the weekend because he's fallen out with the manager because Anthony was demanding he starts.
Yeah, I saw your tweet about that as well.
He put in one 7 out of 10 performance.
Yeah, 6 out of 10.
Thought I should be starting every week now.
Yeah.
Like, it's mental that can even happen.
But does it surprise you that player power is so big at Man United that a player like Anthony can come up and be disrespectful?
No, because I don't think one of the things that we haven't allowed to happen in the last 2 seasons is for player power to become a thing. Like Jadon Sancho got moved on. Ronaldo,
there's still an attitude problem there. Like, he managed it better. Gets rid of Ronaldo, the Maguire situation, Bruno Fernandes at points. He does manage it better than I think a lot of other managers at Man United, particularly Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But there's still a massive disrespectful problem there at Man United, isn't there?
I think it comes from the culture of the club, though. And this is where, look, I think, look, ultimately, people are going to be going, Adam, you rounding the houses. Ultimately, we've lost about a third of our Premier League games. That's not good enough. Part of me goes, based off this season alone, he has to be sacked. But then another part of me goes, well, actually, both our left backs have been injured all season. At most time, 2 or 3 of our centre backs have been injured for most of the season. Delo's been all right, but he's fallen off a cliff in the last week. Onana's been okay in the league, abysmal in the Champions League. We need a goalkeeper. So you're looking at the defence and the goalkeeper, you go, you already need 3-4 players, whether for the squad or for the defence. You go to midfield, Casemiro needs replaced, Eriksen needs replaced, McTominay needs replaced. So you're looking at that and going, you need 3 midfielders. Then you look at the attack and go, well, we need right wingers. We need backup or help for Højlund. So you look at the squad and you go, well, actually, is it any surprise he's not doing well? Given the injuries and the fact that Man United need players in almost every... Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
you're right.
And part of me goes, like, if you look at this season alone and you just zoom in and you just look right now, he needs to get sacked. But if you zoom out and you go, well, last season, everyone expected us to finish 5th or 6th and not win a trophy. We got 3rd and a trophy and another final. He probably overperformed last season. Marginally. This season, he's massively underperformed. Like, if we just had any semblance of form, we get top 4. And maybe we're not having this conversation right now. Because like Spurs have dropped so many points recently. Like, then maybe you go, so this season's been a bad one, last season's been a good one. Did we need to have this season to move forward? Do we need to go through all this to get rid of...
But it's not enough, is it?
Has it gone too far with him? Like,
I think it's gone too far, man.
To actually get...
Who played against Bournemouth? There are a lot of proper Premier League players.
Apart from the defence, he probably had what he would call his ideal midfield and his ideal front three.
Yeah, of course. First choice keeper playing, he was shocking, in my opinion.
The defence was abysmal.
Yeah.
Because you got...
But that defence is still more expensive than Bournemouth. Yeah, but
Maguire.
They're better than Bournemouth still. It's still better than Bournemouth. Of course it is.
I don't know. Maguire wouldn't get in the Bournemouth team.
But what would concern me is about the change. Spurs fans are very happy about Ange Postecoglou. Newcastle fans were happy about Eddie Howe.
Use Ange Postecoglou as an example. If we gauged Erik ten Hag based on the same time frame as Ange Postecoglou, we'd be like, Erik ten Hag had a great season last season.
Results based. I thought there were moments last season you weren't good.
As Ten Hag this season, which is both their first seasons.
There's an issue. There's a substance and a style debate. Ange Postecoglou won't win a trophy this season. He might get them in the Champions League, but the style at Spurs, very open still. They got smashed by Newcastle, but when they play well, they're very, very good Spurs, and they look very, very good on the eye. There's no style change with Ten Hag, is there? There's a substance.
There was a sensible style last season,
winning
but not this season.
Winning a cup final, getting to the FA Cup final. That's a results based. Element of positivity, but you're regressing as a football side.
No, I agree, and this is the questions I start find myself asking myself, because I'm genuinely torn. If I was the board, I go, losing too many games, not getting Champions League football, feels like you have to sack him. But then part of me goes, actually, he did pretty well last season. Do we have to get rid of a lot of shit to kind of get through this? Do we need, if we want to change the culture of the team, do we have to get behind a manager properly and actually support them to make those? Like, you end up asking, there's so many questions. So many questions. And sometimes you have to go backwards to go forwards. But football is a results business and he's not getting a result.
Would the owners of Man City, if they were managing Man United, let's just say, the CEO, would they have sacked him by now? Be honest. Or the Arsenal owners.
Can I just
take away Man City? I'm just saying
Man City is a different.
I'm saying
club.
Just the executive board. Take away their allegiances. They own Man City. Take away their allegiances. If they were the CEOs and the executives at Man United, they sack him. The standards.
Everyone at Manchester United, within Manchester United, so the people making those decisions now, they know this club has been running to the ground. They know we had to bring in all these directors and all that. So it's not like it's a club that's well run and a manager's failing in a well run club.
It's both.
It's a manager that's had last season some relative success, this season relative failure. Could he be better with structure? And part of me wants to see that happen.
And then you think Bournemouth, 1 point out of 6.
Every time you say that, we have another performance where we're conceding 20 shots. And
I think he's a lame duck, man. I think he's lame duck, man. I think it's over.
I'm just torn. I'm really, really torn on it. And then what makes me more what makes me really Ten Hag in is when you look at some of the options to replace him. Like, look at some of the people we're talking about. At the moment with the bookies, and the bookies are usually based off like betting patterns and stuff, so you can't always say they're right or wrong or whatever. Gareth Southgate is 2-1 favourite. You'll catch me walking naked down the Blackwall Tunnel if Gareth Southgate is appointed Manchester United man.
I'm Southgate in for Man United. That's my humble opinion.
Then you've got Graham Potter, second favourite, 5-2.
De Zerbi's interesting. 7-1.
He's lost as many games as fucking Ten Hag.
Yeah, but so many injuries at Brighton. A very stretched squad. Yeah, but Brighton.
The manager.
Brighton.
But we've had.
But when they're all fit and firing, he gets into Europe.
And Malacia both out. Martinez, Varane, who basically won us the Golden Glove last season, out. Like, Casemiro was out for
spent a lot of money,
Maino
bro.
was out for chunk.
A lot of money.
But a lot of that money's been out injured.
So your second string is by definition more expensive, probably triple as expensive as Bournemouth.
But not all of them were bought by this.
Yeah, but he should be able to get a tune out of experienced players that he doesn't quite fit with
Again,
philosophically.
every single time with Man United, we go round in the circles and we go, this squad's not good enough. Then a manager
the chicken
takes
or the egg.
them, and then we start going, well, actually, we have to, like, some of the lads were doing it yesterday on Paddock. Jay, not so much, but like some of the comments were going, Anthony needs to start and this, that, and like, Anthony's all right, actually. And it's like, no, you're not pulling the wool over my eyes. We're not going through this where we go, well, actually, he's not too bad. No, the guy's trash.
Guy's rubbish, yeah.
And you have to realise that. And the same with Maguire. But maybe it could be the same with Ten Hag. I don't know. But I just think he needs some time, man. Look at these options. Who would you go for? Nagelsmann, Tuchel, De Zerbi, Potter, Southgate?
Nagelsmann, actually, because I think he's got that experience at a big club. He plays expansive football. Tuchel's up there. He's a Champions League winner. I do like Tuchel, but it's a bit like your argument for not bringing in Conte or not liking Mourinho, because he feels like a manager, a bit like an Atletico Madrid manager, a Chelsea manager, a bit of a shithouse, for example. Nagelsmann, I think underrated at Bayern Munich. Got his side playing good football.
He's the one that jumps off the list to me. I'd give an interview to Tuchel and De Zerbi and Potter.
Would they take the interview? Would they take the interview?
Yeah, all of that. I think most managers without a job, especially given the new structure that's coming in, most managers without a job would, obviously Klopp's not going to do that because of his stature at Liverpool, etc. But most managers without a job would fancy.
Can I ask you this then? Let's say Nagelsmann comes in, your dream selection out of the 5 you've just talked about.
Dream is a bit of a stretch.
No, but out of the
ideal
5.
selection.
Okay, ideal.
Yeah.
Nagelsmann comes in, he talks to the board at Man United. As a Man United fan that knows far more about the club than me, how much money and backing does he get in the summer?
It's hard to say,
in your opinion.
Because what will impact how much we've got to spend is what European competition we're in, how much money we can recoup, because we've got all that FFP issues still. Now, one of the things that have helped us is recently we've seen a big drop off in our wage bill. Like our wage bill isn't as high anymore. And some of those players now, the Casemiro's, Varane's, probably going to be leaving.
You can shift them, do you think? Are you comfortable you can shift them?
No, I think they're going to be, I think they're lined up for moves to Saudi.
Right.
I think they will move on. Then you've got a few other players that could move on. So the wage bill has been trimmed down, which will help us massively. But it'd be interesting to see where our FFP situation lies, and it depends on how much we can spend.
That'd be the issue for me.
I think that what we need to do though is look, we've got and shout out to Ten Hag as well. He deserves some credit for using some of these players, although sometimes it's been out of necessity. We've got a nucleus of some very good young players. You look at Garnacho, Højlund, you look at Kobbie Mainoo. We've got some good young players coming through. Our academy teams are doing quite well. So buying the right young talent to go alongside, that's the key. And it's not going to be a short-term fix. And that's why part of me goes back to it. It's not going to be a short-term fix. So are we just hitting the panic button too early? I don't know.
But you're not fifth, scraping fourth, and I think that would be a low standard for Man United. I think last season there were aspects of the game.
Last season should have been this season, and last season should have been this season. Do you get it?
Yeah,
we should have had this mad season last season.
But people gas
and this season should have been progression, third trophy.
But you're living off scraps as a Man United fan if you think getting smashed in the FA Cup final by City in such a cheap fashion is you're living on it.
De Gea threw that away, innit?
Yeah, I know, but he's a player that you've built your whole club on for the last 10 years, wrongly in my opinion as well.
Exactly, but that's the point. This manager's having to come into a squad that has had that There's been no caretaking about building this team.
What out of the three with Premier League experience then? Tuchel, bit of an abstract shout, Nagelsmann as well. Out of the three from Premier League experience, Southgate's Premier League experience obviously incredibly limited with Middlesbrough.
No, Southgate can get fucked. I don't want Southgate anywhere near my club. Get fucked.
I want him in.
I'd take Potter over Southgate by miles.
Potter over De Zerbi?
Ooh.
That's hard, isn't it?
You know what? You know the thing with Potter? We're scarred by, and he's scarred by the failure at Chelsea.
Yeah,
anyone can fail at Chelsea. Like, you know what I mean? Because it's kind of like Man United strictly under the Woodward and the Glazers. It's a shit show.
I think De Zerbi could expand himself into that role. I think he's got a cleaner slate as well.
We'd finally, although we said that about Ten Hag,
they'd make you more dangerous.
we'd see someone that would, on the pitch, you'd see some form of style, I guess, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. I think style's important, and we don't talk about it enough.
But then one of the things that worries me as well, see, this is the inner monologue debate that I'm having with myself. Like, people go, oh, Adam, you're just blindly following Ten Hag. I'm not. I just kind of feel, do we need to just stick with someone? Like, have you seen that video when he talks about Ajax and the tactics? And he's like, our tactics is to kind of be open. Like, is that why we're conceding so many fucking goals?
I saw a video about that. I thought it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I
Maybe
like
you can get away with that when you're Ajax in the
exactly.
Eredivisie.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?